The most successful business owners don't do it all themselves. They delegate. Upwork is where growing businesses find, hire, and pay highly skilled freelance specialists, from software development and AI implementation to marketing, design, and business operations. With Upwork, you can fill critical skill gaps, launch projects faster, and scale support up or down without committing to full-time headcount. Visit Upwork.com right now to post your job for free. That's UPWORK.com, Upwork.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
A Swift Kick in the Ass, episode 133.
Life is challenging and difficult. No one gets out alive. Time to suck it up, Buttercup. Get ready for a monster-sized boot, aimed to help you get traction on personal change and get living. I am John Curran, your host. Join me as I share my journey, exploring the forces that motivate us to change and help us get through whatever life throws at us. A swift kick in the ass. Life on your terms.
Welcome to another episode of A Swift Kick in the Ass. This is your host, John Curran, and today's episode, effing people up with change. Now, I'm going to warn you, I may slip. I don't cuss very often on this show, but there are times where it's appropriate, I think. So if there are kids listening, you might not want to listen to this. Maybe you do. I think eventually you will. Change by its very nature is unsettling. And that could really reflect our current reality, or at least our perception of reality as we see it at that moment. The problem is that this change doesn't have to be real change. It could all be in our head. It could be imagined. We might not have any control over it. There could be many, many problems that result in it being really impossible change. It's not going to amount to anything real. And now you can feel that. You can feel it. It doesn't necessarily make it real. So, this show has been promising to help you create positive change in your life. And one of my friends is the one who actually came up with the title. Because, some people just are not interested in changing. And that's really okay, isn't it? Change isn't for everyone. And if you're happy with your life, or happy with the terms of your life, why change? And when we attempt to change, we're really effing up our life, right? We're mixing things up. We're messing things up. I'm, as you know, taking Taekwondo lessons with my son now. About twice a week we go. We've been doing it for a couple of years. And I'm really finding my hips hurting. And I'm really glad that I'm working out this part of my body now at 55 than finding out, in a few years that I'm going to need a hip replacement because my hips hurt, man. I am effing myself up with change. I am bringing on this hurt. I am creating the hurt because I am trying to push my body to its limits. I'm stretching, I'm kicking, I'm exercising, I'm really using my body in ways that it's not used to. And I'm bringing this on myself. I'm causing it. If I just stopped doing it, I certainly would not have the pain right now. But in years to come, most certainly, I'm going to have reduced mobility. I'm going to have pain. I've had doctors tell me before that, if I didn't do something, that I would need a hip replacement. I don't want to have to go through that when I'm older. So this is a conscious choice that I make to F myself up with change. You don't have to do that. If you don't want to change, don't. Look at why, what's driving the change. And if it's someone else, maybe you need to really think a little bit harder before you put yourself into change's way and mess up your life for no real good reason, or a reason that you're not really all that supportive of. In the end, this is your life. That's the swift kick in the ass, isn't it? That this is your life to do with it as you please and as you want. You can get the most out of life or get nothing out of life. It all really depends on you, I think, in a lot of cases. Certainly there are things we can't change. We don't know when our life is going to end. I thought I had a lot of time with my dad. I thought I had a lot of time left with Tommy. No, didn't happen. Life has its own, it has its own agenda, and we can't necessarily, it doesn't necessarily follow ours. Tommy would not have chosen to go out like he did. I certainly would not have chosen that for him, and I don't know of anyone who would take that. But the reality is that happened, and I could feel sorry for Tom. I catch myself getting, a little teary-eyed from time to time if I really stopped and thought about it, because I think about Tom a lot. We were childhood friends. We spent a lot of our life being friends, and to just let him go, that does not happen overnight. But I could get caught up in the sadness of it and the unfairness of it all. But that doesn't change it. It doesn't bring him back. It only makes my life miserable. So, back when he was sick, that's when I first started finding meditation. And I found the breathing techniques and such that I was learning, also, in addition to meditation, helped a lot. And I've been working at personal change, all of my life. I'm one of those people who is constantly looking to make my life better. I love my life, but that doesn't mean that it can't be better in some ways. I want to live on my terms. I don't want to live on someone else's terms. I want to live on mine the best that I can. So I've been reinventing myself, especially since Tom died, and this has been changing aspects of my life. I see that I'm having to kind of ease into new ways of identifying myself or labeling myself. I find, some of these kids in Taekwondo, they're like, "Come on, old man." And it kind of puts the fire under me because I'll show you an old man, and I'll kick over their head or show them something that, catches them off guard. So I might be old, but I'm going to beat you. I'm redefining what old man means to me, and how it applies to me. I was talking to a buddy of mine about retirement. And, I think that the way people view retirement is often, sitting on the front porch in a rocking chair with some lemonade. just watching life pass you by. And I'm telling you right now, that's not going to be me. My retirement, I think, is going to look a lot like my life does now. Travel, spending time with family and friends, exercising, enjoying the great outdoors, enjoying the boat, if I ever get my damn boat back. Just enjoying my life. The only thing is that I don't plan on working. Like, I plan on not having an employer when I retire. So really, it just changed. It's really just, where's the money going to come from to support my life after I no longer work? And I've been working to position myself for a number of years so that, the sooner I don't have to work to support myself and support the needs of myself and my family, the better. I'm going to continue to do that no matter what. And that does, it F's me up with change, because I'm continuously looking for ways to make life better, and that does require action. I go through my budget once a year to try to cut things back, and I just recently did that on a couple of items. Cut my cable bill, stopped paying for some bills that, like, for things I don't use, like the gym, because I'm doing Taekwondo now. I never go to the gym, so why am I paying for it? It all adds up. You have to take action to create change. And where you put your time and the actions that you take matter. They can, F you up, man. The actions that you're going to take, they have a price. And you're going to have to pay that price. Like with my Taekwondo, yes, one of the prices that I pay are my hips. My hips hurt. I'm in constant pain. I have leg cramps, and as my leg muscles are stretching and getting conditioned and toned and everything, it's painful. I have to invest a lot of time in stretching and putting like topical cream on it to try to deal with the pain. But I'm going to keep doing what I have to do to make it happen. And I'm really creating new habits in my life. We don't unlearn things. Once we learn something, we keep that knowledge. We don't unlearn it. We replace our understanding with a new piece of understanding. So when you create new habits, you're really not, unlearning an old habit. You're replacing it with a new one. And I'm absolutely doing that. I think you can do that a minute at a time. As you know, I've been playing guitar for a long time, teaching myself, and that is something I absolutely must do each and every day. Even if it's just picking up the guitar for 5 minutes, which I usually may go into it thinking, oh yeah, I only have 5 minutes to play, but it always lasts for more. And sometimes I'm playing an hour and a half. I play at night, and I love it, and I want to keep doing that, and I keep getting better and better. Probably playing the best I've ever played before. Because of this, it's a dedicated, focused effort. And this habit, the longer that you do things and the longer that you pull them into your daily life, and the more that you do within your daily life, that, my friends, becomes your life. That is the change that you're looking for, and that is the change that will endure, because that is how you're spending your time. And if you keep spending your time that way, eventually all the thought that you're putting into this new habit or, new actions or whatever you're doing new and trying to change, all the thought that you're putting into that, it's going to go away. Because what is a habit? It's taking action without thinking about it. You've got it down. Your mind doesn't have to think about it. You don't have to devote energy to that to that action, because it's pointless. The decision's been made. So why waste the energy there? And your mind knows what to do. So you just do it, and you don't even think about it. It's not until you start invoking, trying to change that and trying to put the thought back into it, that you really have to work to put the thought into it to replace it with something else. So I'm stretching every day. I'm playing my guitar every day. I'm doing Taekwondo a couple times a week. I work a full-time job. I do my podcasts, and as you know, the frequency of my uploads hasn't been that much, but it's because I've been out doing things. And that's really what life, is all about. I'm focusing on what I can change. When Tommy died, I made a conscious decision to stop talking about all the things that I said I was going to do, and I'm just going to do them. I'm going to make it happen. It's not a question of accountability. It's not a question of telling all of you that I'm going to do something so that, when you ask me about it, I can't say no, I'm not doing it. I would look foolish. It would look bad upon me if I do that. I'm not doing this for anybody else but me. I'm doing this because it's important to me. Being myself, being the best person that I can be, living the life that I want to live to the best of my abilities, that is how I kick myself in the ass, and that's why I kick myself in the ass. The challenge in all of this is focusing on what you can change. And, some of the things in our life, they suck, and we want to change them, but we can't for one reason or another. And we have to, as I've said in previous podcasts, you need to learn to embrace that suck. Just say, what, you suck, but I know that you're not going anywhere. So come on in here and give me a big hug. And, I'm not ever letting you go, and I'm just going to accept you as a part of my life. And I'm going to keep moving on with other aspects of it, because I'm not going to let you hold me back. Keep it close to you and don't let it control you. I do find it fun to learn, to change, to adapt. That's what got this podcast started. I wanted to share with Tommy. Tommy and I both wanted to share our lives, and we were both focused on the same goal, really, making the best out of life, living on our terms. I've learned how to make games out of these hard tasks, and that comes through on this show. I have an inner drive to evolve and to fuck myself up. F myself up with change. And I do a pretty damn good job at it. I'm persistent. If there's one thing about me that I know, I'm very persistent, and that is good most of the time, but I have learned that, sometimes you can keep banging your head into the wall, and that wall's never going to move. You're never going to do anything but continue to hurt yourself and bloody your head. So I've learned to back off from that and let go of the things that I can't change. Life is short, and I decided, I'm going to stop talking, and I'm either going to make it happen or I'm going to let it go. At this point in my life, I know exactly who I am. I like myself. I know myself, or at least I thought I knew myself pretty well, but I continue to learn. And, I dress my life through mind, body, and spirit. You can't really, all these things are part of your life. Don't neglect them. Take focus and create some real change in your life. We can't be sure what happens next. There's no guarantee, and we're not fortune tellers. We can't tell the future, but we can take calculated risks. We can try to model our world, or our view of the world, and try to forecast how it's going to change, and we can try to implement change in our life by taking that type of approach. But you have to make it happen, man. You have to kick yourself in the ass, and you have to F yourself up with change. You have to put yourself in that position to muddy things up, to mix things up, to get battered and bruised. It's all part of the learning process. Stop fooling yourself. One of the things I've learned is pain is that if you're going to focus on the pain, then it's going to linger. But if you embrace it and say, you know what, you suck, but I feel you and I see you there, and how can I'm listening, and listen, and you're going to hear ways, that you can change and lessen that pain, or at least address it in your own way. And over time, your listening skills develop in a much stronger way, and you're better able to assess and listen and actually hear what your body and your mind and all your thoughts are telling you, or your inner spirit and in your drive and whatever's guiding you. I'm going to need to probably wrap this up because I feel like I'm just rambling, but I hope you find this valuable. Please shoot me an email. Reach out to me. Leave comments on the podcast. I'd love to hear back. That's one of the negatives about having a podcast is you don't get a lot of feedback. So I don't know often how my audience is reacting. I'm not there when you're listening to me. But my son and I have been watching this show called Lego Masters. It's about Legos, and it's pretty cool. They have some pretty cool challenges on that show. But it's a competition, and there are winners and losers at the end of each show. And one of the losers, who was very good, but what he said really struck me, and I want to share it with you, or at least paraphrase it. They asked him, how do you feel about losing? And he answered, he says, well, I'm disappointed. I failed. I did not succeed at what I wanted to do. But that's part of life. I'm going to deal with it, and I'm going to move on. I'm going to learn from it, and I'm going to move on. Tom Petty, one of my favorite artists, said, most things I worry about never happen anyway. So why worry about things that aren't going to happen? I think that's also one of the things I've learned to let go, is of my worry and concern about the things that I can't control. I'm going to continue to F myself up with change, and I guess I encourage you to do the same. Not to hurt yourself, but to better yourself, and better your situation, and better the world, because let's just face it, the world is a better place when everyone is happy. And the best place to make a better world is, in the mirror. Look in the mirror and see what you can do for yourself. Live a better life. Live on your terms. And the world's going to be a better place for it, because you're going to be better, and that's contagious. So this is John Curran. The podcast is a swift kick in the ass. Thank you for listening, and keep living on your terms.
Life is challenging and difficult. No one gets out alive. Time to suck it up, Buttercup. Get ready for a monster-sized boot, aimed to help you get traction on personal change and get living. I am John Curran, your host. Join me as I share my journey, exploring the forces that motivate us to change and help us get through whatever life throws at us. A swift kick in the ass. Life on your terms.
Fall's a time to plan ahead and ensure your brand shows up in ways that matter. 4imprint's promotional products work as hard as you do and make a lasting impression. From quality apparel, including exclusive brands, to drinkware, tech, and totes, they've got thousands of options to fit your brand and budget. Plus, you get free samples, expert help, and their 360-degree guarantee. So you'll be 4imprint certain everything shows up just right on time. Explore more at 4imprint.com.